We are live. So this is a warning because Pluto, right here, is opposing Mars. And it's pushing us to face the truth in our lives and beyond. So this is a wake-up call. This is revealing hidden secrets that maybe you weren't aware of before in yourself and in others. Well, probably especially in others. You might see disturbing truths coming out. And this is the great reveal. So things are being revealed, all right? And this is just the beginning. We are just getting started. So this is Pluto and Mars, and they are opposing the Earth, where we are, obviously. And this energy is demanding honest reflection in our lives, in our relationships, with those we do business with those who are close to us. A lot is being illuminated, and I'll share some stories from my own life, as well as other people in my life. This energy is illuminating hidden struggles that we're going through, or maybe other people are going through in our lives. It could be related to us or unrelated. This is a time to confront challenges. Childhood wounds may surface during this time, all right? That's something I've been processing a little bit. On the upward spiral of evolution, we will be continually faced with old wounds from the past, old patterns, old pains, emotions that we have experienced before. We may think to ourselves, man, I thought I already worked through this. I thought I already overcame this. But on this upward spiral of human evolution, we will continue to face these wounds, and it's just an opportunity to give more love and tenderness to those deep parts of our spirit, really, and continue to transcend and not give it too much of our energy, but just be like, oh, these are wounds from the past, reminding me to keep my cool or reminding me to evolve beyond this. All right, so if we take a look at, let's take a deeper look at the astrology. So Mars is then going to go retrograde, meaning it's going to appear to be slowing down, and from Earth's perspective, but it is going to, as you can see, so like right here, then Pluto and Mars are no longer exactly opposing each other from the point of view from Earth, but then they are going to oppose one another again right around here. And that is January 3rd. So it's going to happen a second time. And then if that wasn't enough for y'all, so you can see they're not lined up right there, but it is going to happen one final time when Earth goes around this bend right here. They are going to be opposing one another again. So things that are being revealed in our life, hidden struggles, hidden secrets, are going to continue to be revealed, and we're going to have an opportunity to really reflect on these areas of our life for the next 6 months or so. This goes all the way out to April of next year. All right, so that's the unfortunate news. The good news is this is another opportunity for our spiritual awakening and becoming the best that we can be, all right? And growing and evolving past these difficult situations that we find ourselves in. And we don't want to get trapped in negative karmic cycles from the past. We don't want to get trapped up in other people's karmas. All right, so this is time to be very cautious. Maybe end certain agreements that are no longer working, or if you have been betrayed or deceived, maybe ending those connections, ending those relationships, but just to do the best, most loving thing for yourself and others. And a lot of times, loving ourselves is sometimes saying no and saying goodbye to someone who is not treating us right. It's also a time for forgiveness. Sending those people forgiveness who may have lied to us or deceived us. All right. So stories from my life is there are definitely secrets are being uncovered with someone who works with me. And that's been very confronting. It's been emotionally intense. And there's also some truth coming out in my life related to a huge potential investment project that I was looking at very intently. And we almost started a huge project, which would have involved a lot of money. And recently we realized from someone in our network who was also very interested and involved in starting this project. Luckily, we didn't start it. And some truth was revealed in terms of the documents and the agreements and the certificates that was not so good. All right, so we are backing out of that project, thankfully, without any major painful situations that we could have found ourselves in. All right, so there's a time to be grateful for what Pluto is illuminating for us. Pluto gets down to the very bottom of things. It gets down to the core truth, even though it can be uncomfortable. All right, so let's thank Pluto for that. It's also a time of childhood wounds coming up. So, you know, in my childhood, I really had, for whatever reason, I always had, when I was really young, not always, but sometimes I had a difficulty connecting really with myself and others. Connecting on a more deeply emotional level. I had, for some reason, challenges expressing myself, expressing my truth, expressing my desires. And connecting with others. So there's little childhood wounds like that coming up again, but it's just an opportunity to be like, okay, there's that childhood wound. It's all good. How can we move past this? How can we give the inner child a little bit more love that he didn't get when he was growing up? All right. So for you, whether you're a man or a woman, learning how to, just continue to nurture those parts of yourself. This is a time to face the music in our lives, so to speak. All right. It's a time when things may get rather dramatic. But let's do our best to stay grounded, stay centered. A lot of things that can help with that is long walks in nature, qigong, meditation, personal development, exercise, going to the gym. Jumping in fresh water is one of my favorite things in the world to do. Always calms me down during difficult times in life. This is a time to embrace life changes. All right, so this is really definitely a time. Maybe you got to make some major changes. Maybe it's time to move. Maybe where you're living right now is no longer working and you feel called to go somewhere specifically. This could be the time for that. Maybe you need to change careers. Maybe you need to quit a job. Maybe you were tricked or deceived or lied to by your boss or someone you work with or someone close to you. Okay? This could be a time to cut the cords. But you got to make your own decisions. You know, I'm not giving any sort of advice here. This is a pressure cooker. All right? Mars and Pluto. Mars, the god of war, opposing Pluto, the planet that destroys and crumbles things into the ashes, and then the phoenix rises from the ashes. It's very, very intense energy. All right. So extreme emotional intensity, emotional reactivity. We really have to be aware and be very careful with our emotions and to not be overly reactive and explosive. All right, Pluto is very eruptive energy, just like a volcano erupting. All right, we want to let little bits of volcanic ash come out, emotionally. Little bits of lava spill out, but let's not erupt the whole thing all at once. All right, let's keep it in check. All right, go outside, go out in nature, take a chill pill, jump in some cold water, and for those of us who get really passionate, really fired up, it's time to keep it cool off a little bit. Okay. You may feel violated in certain areas of your life. That's something I'm experiencing. So Mars is in my 4th house. Pluto's in my 10th house. And so there is some things that are going on there related to my home life. So yeah, themes of feeling violated. Do your best to set boundaries, make changes in your life so that you can feel safe, as that is a very important need that we all have. This is the major themes is individual reactivity, individual power versus the established powers. Because Pluto is in Capricorn, the established powers. Mars typically represents the individual, the ego. So there could be some major themes around the individual maybe feeling oppressed by the powers that be with Pluto in Capricorn and standing up and fighting for our rights. I was just thinking about this earlier today, and I was thinking like, Mars, I mean, this is going to be happening for the next 6 months. Mars kind of, I mean, one of the main reasons that people have been diving into investments such as meme coins or all these speculative assets is because the current system that's potentially crumbling, Pluto and Capricorn, the powers that be, you know, are creating all of this unbelievable inflation and money printing for their own benefits, but then the individual is left feeling completely betrayed, right? So I think that's one of the main reasons why things like meme coins are becoming so popular. It's because like the individual is like, well, the system is totally screwed and that's not working anymore. So I need to find out ways for me to make a living and to not get priced out of the market, you know, so that I can actually afford to live, you know, buy and afford to own a home versus being a slave to the system. All right. So Mars is standing up to that. And the individual is saying, no more. I'm going to figure out a way that works for me to create the wealth and the freedom that I need for myself and my loved ones. All right. So I'm wondering if this could be the next 6 months. We might have an altcoin run or meme coin run at some point because the individual is fighting the old system that is dying. All right. So the individual no longer wants to feel oppressed. This is a time of great reveals. You can check your personal astrology chart to identify, you know, this is just the transits in the sky right now, but look at the specific areas in your chart related to, here's Mars opposing Pluto. So Pluto is at 29 degrees Capricorn, Mars is at 29 degrees Cancer. Look at these areas in your chart and see which house these planets are in, all right? So Mars is in my 4th house, and Pluto's in my 10th house. Someone very close to me, Pluto's in their 1st house, Mars is in their 7th house. So it's about them kind of facing enemies, facing the relationships and tension. So wherever these planets are in your chart, really you could look at, since they're so close, and Mars is going to move back into Leo soon, and then Pluto is going to move into Aquarius. You could look at where is 0 degrees Aquarius and 0 degrees Leo. What houses are those located in your chart? And that's where there's going to be heightened tension, secrets being revealed, hidden truths coming out, things of that nature, emotional tension, emotional reactivity. And it's best to navigate this energy skillfully and creatively. I personally like to be as creative as possible, connect to the infinite intelligence within each and every one of us. And how can we resolve difficult situations with love and not confrontation and fear? All right. How can we really tap into our intuition, our greater spiritual connection, forgiveness, things of that nature, but also set healthy boundaries for ourselves and our loved ones, and potentially cut out things that are no longer, or relationships that are no longer serving our lives, and set strong boundaries when needed. We can also talk about the Pluto transits. So let me explain this. This is really really interesting here. So I talked about a lot about this last year. I looked in. This is the little bit slightly different topic than Pluto opposing Mars, but still very relevant because Pluto is going from 29 degrees Capricorn, if you look right here, 29 degrees Capricorn, and it's going to head into, you'll see it'll switch signs into Aquarius right there. That's happening on November 19th, United States time. So only in a few weeks, Pluto's going to Aquarius. It has been transiting from Capricorn to Aquarius, going forwards and then retrograding, going forwards and retrograding. So it's going to be tapping on 0 degrees Aquarius, ingressing into that 0 degrees Aquarius 3 times, okay? And the last time this happened was all the way back, look at the dates here, 1956 on the left, 1937 and 1912, okay? And then, so what I did is I looked at the Dow Jones. Let's kind of bring this chart up here, make it front and center. I looked at the Dow Jones, and this is what the chart action was doing, the price action on the Dow Jones. Now, we'll get to Bitcoin in a minute here, but you know, Bitcoin doesn't go back to 1956, so I had to use the Dow Jones. But what we saw in 1956 on the left here was Pluto ingressed the first time, then it retrograded. We got a pump and then a dump when Pluto retrograded, and then we pumped into the second time that it ingressed to 0 degrees, then a dump, and then a pump. Now let's compare, you know, 1937 and 1912 again. We'll look at that, but we'll also compare it to this chart where this is what the Dow Jones has been doing the last 2 years. When Pluto has been ingressing into 0 degrees Aquarius, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and then the orange lines are when it retrogrades back into Capricorn. So the first time was back in March 2023. We got a pump, just like Bitcoin. This looks very, very similar to the Bitcoin chart, if you guys really think about it. We got a pump. That started the Bitcoin bull run. Very nice. And then it retrograded. We got a little correction. Then we pumped again, but we got a big dump in between the retrograde, the first orange line, and then the second blue line. Got a correction there. Then a major pump into this. Pluto ingresses into 0 degrees for the second time in Aquarius. Then we got some sideways price action. Then we went retrograde, but we continued to climb up. So very interesting. Now we're almost to November 19th. We're getting a little bit of a correction here. We'll see how much of a correction we go before heading back up. All right, so now let's compare historically this to what happened in 1937, 1912. 1937, we got just a major dump for the first blue line, the first ingress, and then that's a little bit similar to what we experienced last year. Is there's this big dump right here, big correction. So we got that correction. Then we started heading back up, just like we did last year. And then we did get a dump and then a pump. We didn't get much of a dump around the retrograde period this year, and that was September 1st. Got just a little correction, and we continued to head back up. All right. Now, if we look at 1912 in the middle here, we pumped up, then we corrected, then we had sideways action, and then we got a huge mega pump. So kind of similar where we pumped and then a correction here. And will we get a mega pump? That's the question. We could, because in all 3 of this historic Pluto 3 transits into the new sign, 1956, 1937, 1912, we got a mega pump, or we got a mega pump on the first one. We got an okay pump on the second one, and then a mega pump 1912. So all of these got a pump. So that's pretty bullish for November, especially around November 19th. Could we get a nice pump around that time, or be heading into November 19th? It's certainly possible. Okay, so let's also dive into Pluto opposing Mars, and I looked at 2 times in history that this has happened before, very similarly, where it happened 3 times with a Mars retrograde. It happened in 2008 when we had the great financial crisis. What happened? Of course, we fell off a cliff. They oppose. Look at the red lines. Ignore the blue line. So we're looking on the left here. We did get a pump heading into the first one, and then a dump, and then further dumping, and yeah, just lots of dumping because that was the great financial crisis. Now we look at 1939, which is World War II times. Not the greatest. We also got a pump into the first one. So it's pretty bullish, actually, the first time. So this happens tomorrow, basically. So potentially pretty bullish. We actually could get a pump tomorrow if it follows what happened in 1939. Then we get a correction and then another pump. And it's so a higher high. And this will happen the second time, January 3rd of next year. So are we going to get a higher high by January 3rd? Then another correction, and then even higher high, which happens next year, April. So that's very interesting. Could we even get a peak around April next year? So this is obviously the bullish case. 2008 was the bearish case. So we're definitely, I think if you're a bull, you definitely want to vote for this one, 1939. We don't want, I do not think we're heading into a great financial crisis just yet. I'll explain in future videos when that could be, but I don't think it's happening anytime in the next year from everything I've been looking at. So I'm definitely leaning towards 1939, much more bullish price action. Okay, let's see. Now let's look at the Bitcoin chart. So Bitcoin's gotten a little correction. We can make a 50% line here from this bottom here in October 10th. The 50% line brings us to 66,000. So if we dump further, a level of support, pretty strong support would be 66,000. Of course, next level after that would be potentially around 62, 63,000, this 21 SMA line. But if we zoom in even more, well, we'll see. We'll have to wait this out a bit to see when the bulls start buying back in. But yeah, we definitely have a little bit of a correction here. Heading into the United States, very intense election, of course, with Mars opposing Pluto, which is some of very, very, very intense energy. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Let me know what you guys are experiencing in the comments. This video is a bit more personal, bit more astrological, bit more spiritual, bit more, you know, our into our personal lives. So let me know what stories you guys have from your own lives. Have you had any themes of being betrayed? Or because Pluto can bring that. Pluto can bring secrets that are being revealed. Yeah, it can bring things like lying and deceiving. So let me know in the comments if any of you all are experiencing that. Okay, we do have a question here. Does the astrology give us any information on who will win the U.S. presidency? That's extremely complicated. This is so many astrologers are predicting. I think I heard a decent amount are kind of leaning towards Kamala. But honestly, guys, who cares, man? I mean, yes, it is a huge election, but it's like, why don't we all we got to do is wait another week. Let's just wait and see. Okay, guys, like it's very close. I have heard that Trump is potentially a bit in the lead right now. But this is highly, highly intense election. Yeah, and there's so much involved. This is much deeper than just an election. This is a spiritual battle, I believe. Between good and evil, dark and light. All right, this has been happening for eons. This kind of spiritual battle that humanity's facing. Yeah. So, I mean, regardless of who wins, I think the markets are still going to do what the markets do. I don't think it's going to make that huge of an impact. Might be a little bit better if Trump wins, obviously, for crypto. But even no matter who wins, even if Kamala wins, I think crypto will still do well. I mean, China tried to ban Bitcoin, like 8 times, 9 times or something, and Bitcoin just has gotten stronger and stronger. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Of course, you know, the person you want to win, of course, you're going to be rooting for that person. Mr. T, if the cheating is minimal. Right, exactly. So with this Mars opposing Pluto, there could be, of course, the cheating and lying, the voter fraud kinds of things. But I'm praying for for us to have hopefully as much as possible an election with high integrity, where the person who got the most votes actually wins. Okay, and that's certainly possible, especially with Pluto coming out of Capricorn and heading into Aquarius. Aquarius being the sign of the power to the people, for humanity. And so let's hope, you know, may the best man win, the best man or woman in this case. But yes, there is a lot coming out about both candidates. There's a lot coming out about Kamala and how actually there was incest in her family. I just saw a video from Candace Owens. You guys should go check out her channel, bringing out a lot of interesting information. Trump just had a super popular interview on Joe Rogan. If y'all haven't seen it already, it has like 41 million views, maybe more than 41 million, right before the election. So that's really good for him. Doesn't matter who wins, crypto pumps either way. Exactly. So the markets just want certainty. They want clarity. And so once there's clarity on who wins, markets pump, most likely, as that's historically what happens. Unless there's some crazy event where one person wins and the other side refuses to let that person take office. That would create more uncertainty. That could create, of course, another potential big correction. So there's that little risk there. But that's never happened in United States history, so it's fairly unlikely, but a lot of people are talking about that possibility. I agree. Bitcoin will go up regardless who wins. Let's hope we have a clear winner. Yeah, that's what we can hope for. Okay, well, hope everyone's doing well out there with these intense energies we're dealing with. But may the truth be revealed. The truth always wins. I believe that. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in. May Bitcoin win. And may your favorite altcoins win. And maybe even your favorite meme coins. All right, much love, everybody. Let me know how you're doing in the comments below. And I'll see you on the next video. I'm going to go head to the zoo with my wife and daughter. All right, peace, everybody. Have a great day.